The ancient data crystals hummed beneath archivist Kei Nakamura's fingers as she carefully extracted them from their dusty storage unit in the depths of the Galactic Archives. Located on Station Helios, humanity's primary diplomatic outpost, the archives were supposed to contain complete records of human-alien relations. But these particular crystals weren't listed in any official catalog. Working the graveyard shift had its advantages. No one questioned why Earth's leading Xenohistorian was accessing restricted sections at 300 hours. The soft blue glow of the crystals reflected off her dark eyes as she inserted them into her reader, her heart racing with anticipation. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing footage that made her blood run cold. The timestamp read 2157 CE, during humanity's first major interstellar conflict, the Proxima Campaign. What she saw contradicted everything in the official records. The footage showed human soldiers moving with impossible speed and precision, their movements betraying capabilities far beyond what humanity publicly admitted to possessing. They weren't just fighting. They were systematically dismantling an entire Rixian battle fleet, one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. The humans demonstrated an almost preternatural ability to predict their opponent's movements, exploiting weaknesses that shouldn't have been apparent to such a young species. "Computer, verify authenticity," Kai whispered, her voice trembling. After several tense moments, the AI confirmed the footage hadn't been altered. A sharp intake of breath behind her made Kai spin around. Ambassador Zareth, a tall crystalline being from the Lumarina Collective, stood in the doorway. Their faceted surface reflected the holographic display in a kaleidoscope of colors. "I see you found them," Zareth said, their voice resonating like wind through crystal. "I wondered who would eventually piece it together." Kay's hand instinctively moved to close the display, but Zareth raised a crystalline appendage. "Please continue. You deserve to know the truth about your species and why the Council fears you so much." These capabilities, Kai gestured to the frozen image of human soldiers executing maneuvers that defied conventional physics. They're impossible. Our neural architecture couldn't support such rapid information processing. Zareth's crystalline form shifted, creating patterns that Kai recognized as amusement. "Couldn't it? Tell me, Archivist, have you ever wondered why humans are the only known species whose brain capacity far exceeds their current evolutionary needs?" The implication hit Kai like a physical blow. "We were engineered." "No," Zareth moved closer, their crystalline body catching the light from the data crystals. "Something far more interesting. Your species evolved with potential built in, potential that terrifies the older races. The ban on human military involvement wasn't implemented to protect humanity from the horrors of galactic warfare, as your history records claim." Kay's mind raced through centuries of historical data. The ban had been presented as a protective measure, a way to shield humanity from the traumatic effects of advanced warfare. But the footage told a different story. "The ban was to protect everyone else from us," she whispered. "Precisely." Zareth's form pulsed with what might have been approval. "But that's only the beginning. These crystals contain the full record of the Proxima Campaign, including the real reason it ended so abruptly." As Kai accessed more files, she discovered reports of human soldiers displaying increasingly extraordinary abilities under combat stress. The more intense the battle, the more their latent capabilities emerged. It wasn't just enhanced speed and strength. They began demonstrating limited precognition, perfect tactical coordination without communication, and an almost hive mind level of strategic thinking. The final report, written by a Rixian military observer, contained a chilling conclusion. Human neural architecture appears designed for warfare. Under sufficient stimulus, their brains reorganize to form combat-optimized networks. The more they fight, the more powerful they become. Recommendation: immediate cessation of hostilities and implementation of strict controls on human military activity. But why keep this hidden from humanity? Kai demanded, turning to Zereth. We had a right to know. Did you? Zereth's crystalline surface rippled. Imagine knowing your species was engineered as a weapon of last resort. That your potential for violence was so great it frightened civilizations billions of years your senior. What would that knowledge do to human development? Before Kai could respond, her terminal chimed with an urgent alert. Reports were flooding in from the Outer Rim, the first major violation of the human military ban in centuries. Someone had deployed human mercenaries against the swarm, and the results were already exceeding the ancient projections. Zereth's form dimmed noticeably. It seems history is about to repeat itself. The question is, Archivist, what will you do with this knowledge? Kai stared at the crystal in her hand, feeling the weight of centuries of deception. The truth about humanity's capacity for warfare had been hidden for generations. Now, as conflict once again loomed on the horizon, she had to decide whether humanity was ready to confront its true nature. She pocketed the crystal and stood. First, I need to understand everything. Show me what really happened after the Proxima campaign. Show me why they decided to hide the truth. Zereth's crystalline form pulsed with an unreadable emotion. Very well. But remember, some truths, once known, cannot be unknown. The classified footage from the Battle of Proxima Centauri filled Kay's office with ghostly blue light. Zereth stood motionless beside her as they watched the events that had changed galactic history forever. The recording began with the deployment of the 3rd Human Expeditionary Force against a Rixian invasion fleet. Lieutenant Commander Rena Valdez stood on the bridge of the HS Hyperion, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display showing thousands of Rixian warships advancing toward human space. They said we weren't ready for interstellar warfare. Rena's voice echoed through the recording. They're about to learn how wrong they were. The battle began conventionally enough. Human ships, though fewer in number, demonstrated remarkable coordination. But it was what happened next that had earned humanity its feared reputation. As casualties mounted and the battle intensified, human neural patterns began to shift. The neural monitoring systems installed by alien observers recorded the change. Human brains reorganizing themselves, forming new neural pathways optimized for combat. Crew members began operating with impossible synchronization, as if linked by some invisible network. Look at their brainwave patterns. Zereth pointed to a secondary display. No other species has ever demonstrated this level of neural plasticity under combat conditions. The footage showed Rena's flagship surrounded by Rixian vessels. Instead of panic, her crew displayed an eerie calm. Without verbal commands, they executed a series of maneuvers that seemed to anticipate every enemy move. The Hyperion danced through enemy fire, its responses becoming more precise with each passing moment. Their tactical algorithms couldn't have predicted this, a Rixian observer noted in the footage. The humans are adapting faster than our combat computers can analyze. But the true breaking point came when the Rixians deployed their planet-killer weapon against the human colony on Proxima Bay. The recording showed Rena watching the weapon power up, her expression changing from determination to something else, something primordial. What happened next? Zereth's voice wavered, convinced the Council that humans could never be allowed to fully develop their combat potential. The footage showed Rena and her crew undergoing a transformation that defied scientific explanation. Their neural patterns synchronized completely, forming what xenobiologists would later term a combat gestalt. The Hyperion's movements became fluid, perfect, as if ship and crew had merged into a single entity. In the space of 20 minutes, they systematically dismantled the entire Rixian fleet. It wasn't just superior tactics. The humans seemed to be operating outside normal time constraints, processing information, and reacting faster than their own technology should have allowed. The worst part wasn't the defeat, Zirith commented. It was what we discovered afterward. Every human involved in the battle had permanently retained their enhanced capabilities. Their neural architecture had evolved, and the changes were irreversible. The recording shifted to the aftermath. Surveillance footage showed Rena's crew displaying abilities that alarmed even their own command structure. Enhanced reflexes, tactical processing that outperformed AI systems, and most disturbingly, the ability to instinctively coordinate with other veterans of the battle without any communication technology. The Council faced a terrifying reality. Zirith continued. Humans didn't just become better fighters during combat, they evolved. Each battle made them stronger, faster, and more efficient. If allowed to continue fighting, they would eventually become unstoppable. Kai watched as the recording showed emergency council sessions. Representatives from the galaxy's oldest civilizations argued frantically about the human threat. The Rixians, humiliated by their defeat, pushed for immediate action. Either contain them now, the Rixian ambassador demanded, or accept that we have witnessed the emergence of a species that could dominate the galaxy through sheer martial prowess. The decision to ban humans from warfare was unanimous. But the footage revealed another, darker truth. The Council had seriously considered more permanent solutions. Only the intervention of the Lumarina Collective had prevented more drastic measures. My people argued that humanity's potential could be directed toward peaceful pursuits, Zirith explained. We believed that the same neuroplasticity that made humans extraordinary warriors could make them extraordinary creators, explorers, and diplomats. The recording ended with the signing of the ban treaty. Rena Valdez and her crew were quietly retired, their enhanced abilities classified at the highest level. Human history was carefully edited, the true extent of their capabilities hidden even from themselves. But now the ban has been broken, Kay said, thinking of the reports from the Outer Rim. And somewhere out there, human soldiers are fighting again, evolving again. Zirith's crystalline form dimmed. Yes. And this time, we don't know if we can contain what we're about to unleash. Kai stared at the frozen image of Rena Valdez, wondering how many other human soldiers were about to discover their true potential. The galaxy was about to remember why humanity had been banned from warfare, and the price of that remembrance would be paid in blood. The diplomatic archives revealed a complex web of negotiations that followed the Battle of Proxima Centauri. Through the ancient holograms, Kai watched as Ambassador Marcus Thorne, Earth's chief negotiator, faced the Galactic Council in the aftermath of humanity's devastating display of power. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater, its curved walls embedded with consciousness crystals that recorded every word, every subtle gesture. Representatives from 1,000 worlds filled the tiered seats, their varied forms creating a living tapestry of galactic diversity. At the center stood Marcus, tall and dignified in his diplomatic whites, facing the scrutiny of civilizations that had mastered the stars when humans were still learning to make fire. You cannot simply exclude an entire species from warfare, Marcus argued, his voice steady despite the pressure. It violates every principle of sovereign rights established by the Galactic Charter. High Counselor Angstera, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate crystalline matrix, pulsed with barely contained agitation. Ambassador Thorne, we have witnessed your species demonstrate combat evolution rates that exceed anything in our 12 million years of recorded history. The neural adaptations your soldiers displayed at Proxima Centauri should have taken millennia to develop naturally. The recording showed Marcus maintaining his composure, though subtle bio readings detected his elevated stress levels. Then help us understand these capabilities. Work with us, To. To what? Interrupted the Rixian representative, Admiral Vexthar, his scaled face still bearing the burn scars from Proxima. To become even more efficient killers. One of your ships, one human crew, decimated our most advanced battle fleet. The neural scans of your Lieutenant Commander Valdez showed cognitive processing speeds that approached artificial intelligence levels. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices and electromagnetic communications. Kai watched as Marcus waited patiently for the chaos to subside, a subtle smile playing at the corners of his mouth. He was letting them reveal their true concern, not human violence, but human potential. If I may, a new voice cut through the din. Ambassador Lyra Venn, humanity's first contact specialist, stepped forward to join Marcus. The recording showed her distinctive silver hair and the neural augmentation ports that allowed her to communicate directly with alien consciousness matrices. The Council's fear. Lyra began, her voice carrying the harmonic undertones that made human speech more palatable to alien neurological systems, is not what humanity is, but what we might become. You've all seen the projection models. Each combat engagement accelerates our neural evolution. But consider this. What if that same potential could be directed toward other pursuits? The chamber grew quiet. Zereth, watching the recording with Kai, shifted their crystalline form in what might have been approval. Ambassador Venn understood something crucial about your species. They commented. Your adaptability wasn't limited to combat. The footage continued as Lyra presented data showing human advances in art, science, and exploration. The same neuroplasticity that made humans formidable warriors also allowed them to master alien technologies at unprecedented rates, to forge diplomatic connections across vast psychological gaps, to innovate solutions to problems that had stumped older civilizations for millennia. We propose a compromise. Marcus stepped forward again. Humanity will accept restrictions on our military activities, but in exchange, we want unlimited access to peaceful technological and cultural exchange. Let us prove that our evolution can benefit the entire galaxy. The council deliberations lasted weeks. The recording showed countless private meetings, secret deals, and carefully orchestrated public sessions. Through it all, Marcus and Lyra worked tirelessly, building alliances with moderate council members while isolating the hardliners who wanted humanity completely quarantined. Finally, the compromise was reached. The footage showed the signing of the Galactic Concord. Humanity would be banned from warfare, but granted unprecedented access to alien knowledge and technology. The public version emphasized protection of human development, but the classified addendums revealed the truth. It was a containment protocol disguised as a cultural exchange program. A masterful piece of diplomacy, Zereth observed as the recording ended. Your negotiators turned an attempt to restrict humanity into an opportunity for advancement. The neural evolution that frightened us in combat was redirected into peaceful pursuits, leading to the renaissance that made humans integral to galactic society. Kai studied the final images of Marcus and Lyra, noting their expressions, not defeated, but quietly triumphant. They knew, didn't they? They understood what humanity really was, what we could become. Yes, Zereth's form rippled with complex patterns. They realized that the very thing that made humans dangerous, their infinite adaptability, also made them invaluable. The question now is whether that ancient compromise can survive the current crisis. The latest reports from the Outer Rim appeared on K's terminal. More human mercenaries being secretly recruited, more incidents of accelerated combat evolution. The careful balance struck by Marcus and Lyra was unraveling. They're afraid, Kay realized, watching the Council's emergency session notifications multiply. Not just of human soldiers fighting again, but of what happens when humans realize the full truth about their potential. Xerath's crystalline surface darkened. They should be. Because this time, humanity won't be negotiating from a position of ignorance. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge, Archivist? Kai looked at the frozen images of humanity's past and the urgent messages warning of its future. The diplomatic dance that had maintained peace for centuries was about to end, and the galaxy would never be the same. The underground war. The encrypted transmission from the Outer Rim appeared on Kay's terminal without warning. The quantum-locked message for the highest security classification she'd ever seen. With Xerath watching, she initiated the decryption sequence. The message revealed a shadow war that had been brewing for decades. Dozens of species, desperate to survive against emerging threats, had been secretly recruiting human mercenaries. The footage showed scattered battles across the galaxy where human soldiers displayed the same extraordinary combat evolution their ancestors had manifested at Proxima Centauri. Commander Jin Hayashi, leader of a mercenary group known as the Twilight Legion, appeared in a combat recording. His team moved with the same uncanny coordination that had terrified the Council centuries ago. During a defense of the Nyx colony against swarm invaders, Jin's neural patterns showed the familiar signs of combat evolution. They're getting better at hiding it, Xerath observed. These mercenary groups are using quantum dampeners to mask their neural signatures. But they can't hide the results. The footage showed Jin's team adapting to swarm tactics in real time, their movements becoming increasingly precise, their coordination approaching perfection. But unlike their ancestors, they seemed aware of their expanding capabilities, deliberately controlling and directing their evolution. The Council's worst nightmare, Kai murmured. Humans who understand what they're becoming. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The Meridian Cluster, the Veil Nebula, the Carina Front. Everywhere, desperate species were turning to human soldiers, willing to risk the Council's wrath to survive. And everywhere, humans were evolving, adapting, becoming something new. The final report showed Jin addressing his team after their victory at Nyx. They tried to cage us. His voice carried the weight of revelation. Not to protect us, but because they feared what we might become. It's time for humanity to remember who we are. The reckoning, the emergency council session was chaos. Representatives from 100 worlds demanded action as reports of human military activities continued to pour in. But this time was different. Humanity had allies. The species who had hired human mercenaries stood in defense of their actions. The Nyx colony representative's testimony was particularly powerful. We faced extinction. The humans didn't just save us. They taught us to save ourselves. Their ability to adapt, to evolve, to become better. It's not just about combat. They make everyone around them stronger. Kai watched as the carefully constructed narrative of the past 3 centuries unraveled. The truth about human potential could no longer be contained. Across the galaxy, humans were discovering their true nature, and to everyone's surprise, they weren't becoming the unstoppable warriors the Council had feared. Instead, they were becoming teachers, protectors, guides. The same neuroplasticity that made them formidable in combat allowed them to bridge cultural gaps, solve previously insurmountable problems, and help other species unlock their own potential. The final footage showed a joint session of human and alien leaders. The ban on human military activity was being renegotiated, but not in the way anyone had expected. Humanity proposed a new role for themselves, not as warriors, but as guardians of galactic stability. "We understand now," the human representative announced, "why our ancestors accepted the ban. They knew we needed time to mature, to understand our capabilities, to learn wisdom along with power. We're ready now, not to wage war, but to help prevent it." The council chamber erupted in debate, but the outcome was inevitable. The galaxy had changed. The carefully hidden truth about humanity's potential was now common knowledge, but instead of causing fear, it offered hope. Kai turned to Zareth as the final recordings ended. "Was this what you hoped for when you helped me discover the truth?" Zareth's crystalline form glowed with complex patterns. "We always knew humanity's potential was greater than just warfare. Your species doesn't just adapt to become better fighters. You adapt to become whatever your environment needs most. Right now, the galaxy needs teachers, mediators, protectors. And so that is what humanity is becoming." The last report showed Jin Hayashi's team, now officially sanctioned as peacekeepers, training a mixed group of alien species. Their enhanced capabilities weren't being used to wage war, but to help others defend themselves, to understand each other, to grow stronger together. The hidden truth, Kay realized, wasn't just about our capacity for violence. It was about our capacity for change itself. "Yes," Zareth agreed. "And now the real question begins. What will humanity become next?" As if in answer, new reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Humans working alongside alien species, their neuroplasticity accelerating cultural exchange and technological innovation. The ban hadn't been lifted so much as transformed. Humanity was still restricted from warfare, but now by choice rather than force. They had found a greater purpose. The final image showed Earth's new galactic embassy, its design incorporating elements from 1,000 alien cultures. Above its entrance, written in every known language, was a simple phrase: "Adaptation is not destiny, it's choice." Kai saved the last of the records, knowing that future historians would mark this as the moment when humanity truly joined the galactic community, not as feared warriors, but as welcomed guides to a better future. The end.